It's time to cover day 5 of the free D&D daily content. This time, we got Saltmarsh Encounters and just a coloring page, and that's it. No Adventures League content. If you want to see me cover this, if you're familiar with the one I did about Baldur's Gate or Avernus Encounters, this is very similar. If you want to see what this is about, stay tuned. What's going on, guys? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and let's head over to the D&D website. So here you can see day 5, April 10th, Saltmarsh Encounters, and a Beholder coloring page. It takes you to DM's Guild, where you can go ahead and pick this up for free, as you can see here. It is a best platinum seller. It has 28 ratings and 4.5 stars. So I have it open right here. So similar to the Avernus one, we have encounters for Saltmarsh, so a lot of water and ship-based encounters. You'll recognize a lot of the same names you saw in the Avernus Encounter module in this as well. Also, the art is very nice. Nice aquatic art here. But you can see we have 3 different tables, basically. We have town, coastal, and aquatic. It's only a d20, but that does mean it's 60 total encounters. So I thought I'll roll a d20, and we'll check each one, and we'll do one from each table. So let's start with town encounters. That's a natural 1. Well, great, off to a good start. So a ghastly affair. So a nauseating odor emerges from a dilapidated wooden farmhouse. A few moments later, someone inside begins screaming. If the characters enter, they find a young man using an old chair to fend off a ghast that is wearing a tattered, grimy dress. Roll a d4 to determine the creature's origin. Okay. 3. It was accidentally conjured from the abyss by an incompetent hedge wizard. There we go. Simple encounter. Let's move on to coastal encounters. Alright, coastal encounters. We've got an 8, which is gone fishing. I don't know if these are in alphabetical. Yes, it looks like it doesn't take into account where you are. So, gone fishing. A young gnome girl, using commoner stats, named Remia, is sitting on the docks holding a fishing pole that is straining under the weight of whatever is caught on the hook. Upon spotting the characters, she calls for their aid. A successful DC 15 strength checks helps Remia foist. I think there's that hoist the creature onto the dock. Roll a d4 to determine what creature Remia caught. Whatever the creature, it is not happy. All right, let's roll a d4. 2. A giant octopus that glows a faint purple. A successful DC 16 Arcana check reveals that the creature is likely a mage's familiar. We also had a young merfolk, which could be interesting, named Ariel. Really, guys? Ariel? Come on. Or maybe it's Ariel, but how either way. And then we have a hostile sea spawn was one, and then a dying reef shark. Okay, let's go back to the top here. You know, let's look at the other options for the ghastly affair. It's the young man's wife, transformed by an ancient family curse. It escaped from a secret lab of a necromancer. The necromancer comes looking for the creature and gives the characters a bottle of Moonlight if they subdued it. Wonder if there'll be stuff at the end that will go over that. It was formerly a thief who owed money to a minor crime lord with a short temper and a wand of polymorph. Okay, and our aquatic encounters here. There's another 8. Jaws. Well, that sounds fun. I wonder if that's going to be what we think it is. A giant shark begins hunting the party. Any character with a passive perception of 13 or higher spots the fin in 1d6 rounds before it attacks. Let's roll again, because that one was kind of silly. 17. Skeletal Beasts. Okay. Granny Nightshade, see the Dreadwood in Chapter 1 of Ghosts of Saltmarsh, has been experimenting with corpses of sea creatures, turning them into skeletons, and then releasing them into the Dreadwood's river that lead to the Azure Sea. These creatures attack the characters, fighting to the death. Roll a d6 to determine the skeletal creature's character encounters. Is it the d6? 3. A hunter shark. I'm curious to see, because in theory, right, sharks, octopi, right, they are cartilaginous creatures, and like an octopus, I don't actually They're a cephalopod. Do they have a traditional skeleton? Can you truly have an octopus skeleton that could be moving around? Like, I know in theory you can in the terms of the game, but like, I wonder if there actually is one. A skeletal creature uses the beast statistics with the following changes. It is undead and doesn't require air, food, drink, or sleep. It is immune to poison damage in the exhausted and poisoned conditions, and it has vulnerability to bludgeoning damage. We got a nice tiefling art here, and some... Well, I've seen some of this art before. Alright, and there's a name generator here, which is nice. Now, these just look to be... I believe all of these are existing in either Mordenkainen's or Volos. I don't believe, from what I've seen thus far, any of those, or Were-Ravens, I think, were in Curse of Strahd first. I don't believe any of those stat blocks are specific. We do have a section here talking about new magic items, and I do believe these are genuinely unique. Anchor of Seafaring. This item consists of, some of these may be in Saltmarsh, and I just don't know off the top of my head, but we'll read through them. Item consists of a 2-foot long central iron shaft with an upper cross piece and two, so it's an anchor, right? Attached to a wooden rope. You can use an action to speak the anchor's command word, and the rope magically lengthens until the anchor touches the bottom, or the rope reaches its maximum length of 1 mile. Okay, if you use an action to speak the command word, the rope shortens until it's 4 feet long. Anklet of Walking. While wearing this anklet, you can stand on and move across any liquid surface as if it were solid ground. So it's sort of like a constant water walk spell. And that's non-attunement, both of those so far. Bellow of Breezes. These bellows are made from brown leather and hardwood with a brass nozzle. You may use an action to pump the bellows, causing them to exhale a line of strong wind 60 feet long and 10 feet wide for 1 minute. Each creature that starts its turn in the line must succeed on a DC 15 strength save or be pushed 15 feet away from the bellows in a direction following the line. Any creature in the line must spend 2 feet of movement for every 1 foot it moves. When moving closer to the bellows, the wind disperses gas or vapor, and it extinguishes candles, torches, and similar unprotected flames in the area. It causes protected flames, such as those of lanterns, to dance wildly, as a 50% chance of extinguishing them. It's a bonus action on each of your turns. Before the effect ends, you can change the direction in which you are pointing the bellows. And then that's once per dawn. So that sort of sounds like a fan of the winds or a gust of wind spell. But I could be wrong. Sounds like there's a little bit of different. I don't think there's the movement speed reduction for gust of wind. Well, here's the bottle of Moonlight we mentioned. Crescent-shaped bottle made of pale stone. When you use an action to pour this liquid on a lycanthrope, that creature immediately assumes its bestial form for 1 hour. Interesting. Chalice of Colors. Once this colorful glass chalice is filled with water, you can use your action to throw the contents in any direction. The liquid turns into a blinding array of flashing colored light. Roll 60-10. The total is how many hit points are affected. Creatures in a 15-foot cone originating from you are affected in ascending order of current hit points. Starting with the creature at the lowest hit points, each creature in the cone is blinded until the end of your next turn. Subtract each creature's hit points from the total before moving on to the creature with the lowest hit point total. Creature's hit points, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's basically color spray, but in a cup. Chitinous armor. This armor consists of a coat of leggings of fish skin leather covered with overlapping pieces of chitin from giant crab shells. While wearing this armor, you can breathe underwater, and all other aspects is identical to scale mail. And then the Orb of Direction, I think that one is in Xanathar's. I believe that's a common one. Yep. You can use an action to determine which way is north. So that's it, folks. This is actually a pretty interesting little module, and I covered it, I think, relatively quickly. Some interesting, unique magic items in here, and I'm sure there's other interesting encounters tied to it as well. So that is pretty much it for week 1 of free daily D&D content. As I stated in my last video, I kind of was getting burnt out on covering the Adventures League stuff. So I think what I may do next week is, rather than doing daily videos and filling up your feed with potentially stuff you may or may not be interested in, what I'll do is I will do a weekly wrap-up next Saturday. So if they do continue to provide us free content every day, like it seems like they're going to, next Saturday I will do a video summing up all of the free content for the week. That way you can get it all in one go, and I'll put timestamps in the description like I typically do for that kind of stuff. And that way you can get back to your more regularly scheduled programming here on Nerd Immersion with the stuff that you probably are here for, like fixing it videos and top 10s and all that other kind of stuff. So also, I wanted to make a big shout out to my patrons on Patreon. If you are unfamiliar, we do have one now. It's relatively free, new. It's like less than a week old, our Patreon. But there's all sorts of cool behind the scenes stuff you can do, like vote on what videos I should make next, as well as get a monthly Q&A video with me, DM coaching, chance for me to run a game for you, not a chance, me to run a game for you, or me to run a game for your whole party, or for me to play in your game. Lots of different options out there. You can go ahead and check it out. There'll be links in the description, and on the end card of the video, there's also a link. So if you haven't subscribed, we're actually approaching 30,000 subscribers here on the channel. We broke 28. My original goal was to hit 25K by my birthday in July. We are now close to 30 at this point, and it's April. So my new goal, may be lofty, I don't know, is to hit 50K by the time Gen Con rolls around. If Gen Con's even happening with the way things are in the world, who knows? But that's my new goal. I'll start talking about it more. I will have a link in the description too. There's 2 days left on my Explorer's Guide to Wildmount giveaway. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.